Hey, what is up all you selective kids? My name is Rob and this video is an Easter Sunday special. By the way, happy Easter. You guys have 38 days left until your selective exam and I hope this maths video can help you achieve your selective dream goals. Let me know what you think of the problems in the comments below and interact with everyone there. Enjoy! Hi, welcome to your very first Clever Student episode. Just like you, almost 10 years ago now, I sat the selective test. I had to wait an eternity for my results, but guess what? When I did get them back, I passed, and I actually did really well. I got into my dream school, which was JAMES RUSE. However, I wasn't really quite satisfied. I always felt that something was, a bit missing from my tutoring experiences. Looking back, I wished my tutors just made learning in those classes that I attended fun. And that's exactly why I'm here today. And that's exactly why you're watching this series. Our mission is to make selective maths fun, possibly even addictive. Of course, you've got to do your part by watching me all the way through. My name is Rob. I'm the founder of Avant Academy. We're currently a K-6 OC and selective tutoring college based in Eastwood. And here's my totally professional business card. Well, after the selective, I did go on and do some pretty cool things in high school and in university. But that's all in the past. Today, it's about you. You sitting behind that computer screen, watching this video or phone screen, you're about to begin your journey into selective maths. And station 1 is probability. In my years of teaching, probability has been taught in a very straightforward, direct way. You probably have seen these 5 dot points in your homework somewhere. My students definitely know exactly what each of these topics are talking about. But that's not why the selective's actually challenging or confusing. This is why the selective is actually hard. What we've realized at Mathematics at Avant is that selective maths isn't so direct, and it's very creative, as in they will create impure questions that combine probability with other branches of maths, making the question doubly confusing. So today, in this episode, I will attempt to explain a couple of things about probability to you, and I hope you can take away a couple of learnings for yourself by watching this video. This is my challenge question to you. It's time to get your game faces on, because this is a question I wrote last night, and it captures the idea of selective probability perfectly. Give it a try yourself, and write your answer in the comments section below. Now for those that don't think they can do this question, this next part's just for you. What is probability? Actually, before I explain the nitty-gritty maths and all the details about probability, let me start with a story. Let's say one day, you're walking on the street and someone offered you 2 options. 1, you can take $10 for free and go. Or 2, you can gamble it on the flip of a coin. And if you do win and win the call, you will win $20. Which option would you rather take? Now, most sensible people would probably take the free $10 and go. What this story tells us is that probability influences us in everyday life, right? It influences our decisions. So it's actually one of the more real-world branches of maths. But if it's so real-world, why does it become so hard when we try to put it into an exam? Today, I'm gonna simply say selective probability is easy, and here is why. There are 2 things in a selective probability question that you need to be aware of. 1, the total number of outcomes, meaning the total number of results or combinations you can end with. 2 is what the question wants you to select out of those outcomes. Which one out of all those outcomes are actually the ones you want? So let's invite our very friendly Aussie fisherman Bob to our fish party here. Now, Bob's task is to fish out 1 fish, but he needs to get the red one. So our total outcomes in this case is 10, and our wanted outcomes is 5 for the 5 red fish in the pond. In maths, it doesn't matter where Bob is standing, we're gonna assume that each fish is gonna have an equal chance of being caught. Of course, he could also fish like this, which is probably how the rest of the world sees us. To calculate the probability of Bob catching 1 red fish, we'd write the fraction of wanted outcomes over total outcomes, giving us the answer of 5 over 10. As you guys know, we must simplify, giving us the answer of half, or 50%. Now, if the selective was just like this, I think all of us would be on to greener pastures. We wouldn't be watching this video right now. The selective is annoying because it can throw an extra curveball at you. Well, what if his son was also fishing? And I now want you to find the probability of Bob catching a redfish and then Bob's son catching a bluefish. This in maths is what we call a double event question, or a multiple event probability question. Because Bob catching a redfish is called event 1, and Bob's son catching a bluefish is event 2, and these events are separate. As we know, the probability of Bob catching a redfish was half. But what is now the probability of his son catching a bluefish? Before you calculate it, you must reassess the question, because one event has happened and it has actually changed the number of total outcomes. Remember, Bob fished up one fish already, so your total outcomes is no longer 10, it is now 9. So the fraction that we should write for Bob's son is going to be 5 out of 9, giving us an answer of half times 5 out of 9, which is 5 out of 18. Alright, back to the main question. As you guys can see here, I've highlighted out 4 key areas of information. Now, which one should you start with? We should always begin with the question statement. That's because the question statement gives us direction as to how to think about the problem, and it also describes the final outcome to us. In this case, we clearly see Gloria wants to get a blue marble. Tip number 2 is for you to create a decision tree. Some selective questions will get you to make decisions, some won't. But for this question and others like it, you guys can start with a box representing Gloria's first decision making. She first has to choose a question which she must get right in order to progress to the next question. In question 1, the chance of her getting it right is already a fraction 1 out of 1, because the question tells us, hey, she has a 100% chance of getting it right. For question 2, the chance is actually a little lower. That's because out of the 4 options, she only knows that 2 are incorrect, but she does not know enough to get the right answer, meaning she will have to guess out of the remaining 2 answers, one of which will be correct. So the probability here is 1 out of 2. For the final question, most students might think there's a 0 chance of her actually getting it right, but that is not correct. That's because she can actually guess randomly, and a random guess in a 4 option multiple choice question is 1 in 4. That completes event 1. Event 2 is now the actual probability of each separate bag containing a blue marble. In the first bag, there are 2 marbles out of 12 marbles. In the second bag, there are 5 marbles out of 12, and the third, 9. Using the previously described idea of chaining events together, we can actually use multiplication to find the eventual outcome, giving us 2 out of 12, 5 out of 24, and 9 out of 48. A common mistake here is that students don't actually put the denominator over the same number and compare only the numerators. However, if we're smart enough, we know that we need to change the denominators to the same lowest common multiple. This case, it's 48. Now we can finally compare and find the answer to the question. Clearly, it's going to be question 2, since it is the largest fraction. Meaning that the most chance or the highest chance she will have of getting a blue marble is actually when answering question 2. Alright, the fun begins now. In a moment's time, I will be showing you 2 of my originally written selected probability style questions. I want you now to go invite as many of your friends as possible to come watch this video and write their answers in the comments section below. Let's see who is the brightest of them all. Remember, that means no bazookas, no bribes, I'm not taking any, so don't message me asking for me for answers. And keep everything nice and civil in the comments section below. So, here's question 1. Pause the video and try doing this question. And this is question 2. And hopefully some of you are now looking like this guy or this girl. But if you're still looking like the guy at the start, don't you worry, because episode 2 is right around the corner. If you guys would like to know a little more about my math classes or how Avant works, please visit our website or scan the QR code for my WeChat. Subscribe to our channel for infinite skill in selective maths, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.